Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Clean Machine Live. I'm Jeff Palmer, the CEO and founder of Clean Machine. Clean Machine is a plant-based fitness nutrition. And one of the things I get asked as a vegan athlete of 39 years I've been vegan is where do you get your protein, but also where do you get your omega-3s? So there's been a lot of controversy over whether human beings actually require essential omegas. We do. That's not debatable. ALA is the essential omega-3. That's the only one. EPA and DHA are not essential. Okay, so why then are we saying that people should be taking DHA or consuming fish, which is high in DHA? Okay, let's start with this graphic. But before we get started, let me go ahead and do the disclaimer by the FDA. This video is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Okay, let's take a look at this graphic because this is important to understand what the rest of the research is. So right up here, you have alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, from plants. And then it's converted down to SDA, which is found in a few plants like Ahiflower. There's a little bit in hemp too as well, but about 8 times more SDA. Then it converts down to ETA, then EPA, then DPA, and then finally at the bottom there's DHA. So why is this conversion important, and why is a new recent study in the last couple of years showed that this is a unidirectional conversion, which means it only goes one direction down like this. So ALA only converts all the way down. DHA then cannot back convert or retro convert to any of the other forms. Now, our body utilizes all of these different forms. That's why they're stepping stones and why the body has them. Not only do we utilize ALA, SDA, ETA, EPA, DPA, as well as DHA, we utilize what's called oxylipins. So ALA itself can actually break down into other compounds called oxylipins and resolvins. Now, these are chemicals that also do additional health benefits, and they're unique to many of these steps here. So ALA can have its own oxylipins and resolvins. Resolvins meaning they're resolving problems in the body, really. That's kind of where it gets its name from. They help lower inflammation. They help reduce problematic areas. They heal and repair. So really important. Now, it's really important to understand that you have a unidirectional conversion rate going one direction. So why not start with the top one and give the body all its needs so it can convert down? Now, this is really important to understand the rest of the science that I'm going to talk about, because when the body takes in the number one precursor, remember, ALA is the only essential fatty acid. EPA and DHA are not essential, meaning our body can make its own from ALA. Now, the big question is when they took blood measures, they took blood and said, okay, if you consume ALA, what happens? Well, there's a good study. I'll just talk about the study instead of sharing this one because I'm just going to touch on it briefly because of the proposal of this. So when they looked at ALA consumption, what happened was the higher amounts of ALA, actually the lower amount of DHA they found in the bloodstream. Now, ALA only converts to DHA in the bloodstream at about 1%. So interestingly, that the more ALA that you consume, the actual lower the DHA was happening. Now, why on earth would the body actually remove DHA from the bloodstream when it has a higher, richer source of ALA, the precursor of this? So this is where I want to get to this research, because this research really explains why the human body does not want DHA in the bloodstream for a very good reason. Okay, so let's look at this picture now. and see what happens to ALA. So once you consume ALA from plants, animals don't make it. It is essential. That means no animal actually makes ALA. Only plants can do that. And ALA is the only essential fatty acid, omega-3. Okay, so once we consume it, it goes into our digestive system. Then it goes through our circulation where it can be deposited in the brain and the lungs and the hearts and the kidneys and the liver, and eventually even stored in adipose or fat tissue. Now, the research has shown that the body can store ALA for up to a year. Now, it can downconvert in the tissues. So a big new study, I'll go ahead and put that study up on the screen because it's important. Yes. Okay. This study, 2023, just came out last year. Actually, December just came out last month. Blood and tissue DHA turnover rates from Ahiflower are not any different than DHA taking preformed DHA from fish or algae. Okay. So what did they find? Let's go ahead and pull up the image and I'll show you what they found. And this is from Dr. Methrel, the person who did the study, lead researcher on this study, that the percent of dietary ALA converted to DHA was 50 times higher in tissues than what is observed in the bloodstream. All right. Now we're starting to see a pattern here that ALA converts to DHA, but not in the bloodstream. Why does the body choose to not convert ALA to DHA in the bloodstream? As a matter of fact, the more ALA you consume, the more the body pushes DHA out of the bloodstream. Now, our body can hold on to DHA in stored fat. That's why most of the DHA in our brain is stored. You know, when we do observation studies and we look at the brain and we say, oh, wow, it's got a lot of DHA and it must be really important for the brain. Well, it is, but it's mostly a storehouse for DHA. The brain is just storing DHA. It's not actually using it. When they looked at the actual usage of DHA, it's about 2 to 3.5 milligrams of DHA used per day. 2.5 to 3 milligrams. Now, well, then they looked at all the fat of a cadaver, of a human, basically, and said, well, how much fat is actually, how much DHA is stored in fat? Up to 50,000 milligrams of DHA. That's over 22 years worth of DHA stored in fat deposits in our brain, the liver, and our fatty deposits in the brain. So we're storing a huge amounts of DHA. So the amount we need to consume is very little. And as a matter of fact, when you can consume ALA, it does not convert in the bloodstream and mostly converts in the tissues. 50 times more of it is converted in the tissues. So we were looking in the wrong place. We were drawing blood and making assumptions that, oh, we're not getting enough DHA. We must consume it from algae or fish. Wrong. It's being converted in the tissues. Why does the human body then not intentionally choose not to convert DHA in the brain? All right, so let's get up to the studies. Now that we're into it, let's look at the first study that really kind of gave us a hint here. This study is a 2016 study, so it was a while ago, and it said subclinical carotid vascular disease and arterial stiffness in vegetarian and vegan men. They actually did that. So let's drill down into that study. The links down below in the green area if you want to pause and take a look at the study yourself. Okay, they found that vegans had lower arterial stiffness. Arterial stiffness is this ability to expand. Why is it stiff? Because you got cardiovascular disease starting to happen there, hypertension, high blood pressure. So vegans had a lot lower DHA in their bloodstream and a lot better or healthier cardiovascular states. And this was back in 2016 they saw this. They had up to 3 times lower DHA in the bloodstream and much healthier, much less aging cardiovascular states. Let me go ahead and just read from the study here because it's very important. So they looked at 171 vegan men and 165 omnivores, and that they found that the vegans had 1/3 the amount of DHA in their bloodstream than non-vegans. Yet their LDL cholesterol was lower and their diastolic blood pressure was lower. So they had less arterial stiffness, the vegan men did. Now, I'll quote directly from the study for this. In conclusion, these results refute the hypothesis that arterial stiffness is increased by lack of fish, DHA, and other sources of EPA and DHA in the vegan diet. So actually, the lower the DHA in the bloodstream, the better the health outcomes were in vegan men who were consuming no preformed DHA and had 1/3 the amount of DHA in their bloodstream. So this study back in 2016 is already showing, hey, wait a minute, lower DHA could be actually a good thing. This is why the body is actually lowering DHA, maybe why the body is lowering the amount of DHA in the bloodstream. All right, but let's not just base it on one study. Let's keep going. Here's the next study. This one, actually, I'm going to skip that study because we'll come back to it. So this one, a 2022 study. So plant-based omega-3s may boost heart health and reduce the risk of heart disease. Plant-based omega-3s. That's the title of the study. It's really important here because here's what they found in the study. I'll put it up on the screen for you. They found when people with low levels of omega-3s in their diet consumed plant source, remember ALA comes from plants, not animals. We can't make it. When people with low levels of omega-3 in their diet ate ALA, they saw a benefit in terms of cardiovascular health. But when people with high amounts of omega-3s from other sources like fish or algae, right, preformed sources, when they ate more plant-based ALA, the precursor, they also saw a benefit. So this is showing that ALA has benefits that EPA and DHA in their preformed state, which is found in animal products, all animal products, fish, dairy, eggs, all of them, meat, have preformed omega-3, EPA, and DHA in it, not the ALA, which comes from plants. So even those with high amounts of omega-3 from animal sources consume plant source ALA, they saw additional health benefits that they were not getting from the animal EPA and DHA. Okay, so this is from the same study. Researchers found that consuming ALA was associated with a 10% lower risk of cardiovascular disease and a 20% reduced risk of fatal coronary heart disease, dying from heart disease. 20% reduced risk just by consuming ALA, not EPA, not DHA. So ALA itself has health benefits for cardiovascular protection. So this was really looking at what happens if you consume ALA. It adds benefits that EPA and DHA can't provide. And ALA was reducing your chance of dying from heart disease by 20%. EPA and DHA did not show this. And again, this is just one more study, so I'm going to keep showing you the evidence. So let's move on to the next study. So this study is 2023. It's a recent study. The effect of omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs, in cardiovascular outcomes in patients with diabetes. Now, this is a meta-analysis. So it's looking at a lot of different studies and saying, what do we see across all the studies for diabetes and those consuming omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids? Okay, let's see. Okay, here's the quote from that. So from this 2023 study on diabetes, they found among them EPA, but not DHA, significantly reduced the risk of cardiovascular disease in patients. So this is interesting because ALA, the plant source, omega-3 converts very easily and quickly and abundantly to EPA in the bloodstream. But it does not want the conversion to DHA in the bloodstream. So this is why the body does this, because EPA is cardiovascular protective. ALA is cardiovascular protective. DHA is not. So let's take a look at what it says here in the study. It has been shown that DHA increases LDL cholesterol. Increases LDL cholesterol. Most people are taking statin drugs to decrease LDL cholesterol for cardiovascular benefits, whereas EPA does the opposite. It decreases LDL. So this is exactly what you want. You want that ALA for cardiovascular protective. You want that EPA for cardiovascular protective. This can be done by plants. You don't want that DHA in there in the bloodstream increasing LDL concentrations. Even further, it goes that they used EPA and statins, and it improved endothelial function. That's the arteries, right? Endothelial function is what can lead to, if you have poor endothelial function, this leads to cardiovascular disease. It leads to hypertension or high blood pressure. It leads to strokes. So EPA plus statins improved endothelial function, whereas DHA did not. So DHA, when the statins and EPA improved cardiovascular, but when you add DHA, it removed the benefits. It blocked, it inhibited, it reversed the health benefits of ALA and EPA. DHA, taking a DHA supplement from algae or fish could actually inhibit and block the cardiovascular protective effects of ALA and EPA. This is why I'm talking about this. I see so many people, especially vegans and plant-based people, saying, oh, I'm on a plant-based diet. I've got to get my DHA from somewhere because I'm not consuming fish. I must consume an algae supplement. And they could be intentionally blocking the health benefits of the plant omega-3s that their body wants. They could be dumping DHA into the bloodstream where the body does not want it to be because it increases LDL cholesterol. It blocks the beneficial effects of blocking cardiovascular disease. Let's go on. The study just keeps going on this format. Furthermore, unlike DHA, EPA can enhance the atherosclerotic protective function of HDL by inhibiting oxidation of HDL particles. Now, this is really important. Oxidation of cholesterol is what is a major contributor of hardening of the arteries or atherosclerotic plaques. That's what causes heart attacks. That's what causes stroke. That's what causes high blood pressure. So DHA did not help this at all. As a matter of fact, it inhibited it. And EPA enhanced the health benefits. It was protective. It stopped the oxidation of HDL. And that's why this study is so important. It's showing that DHA can actually be a negative, and a severe negative when we're talking about heart health. That's why your body, when you consume ALA, does not want to convert very much. Only 1% of ALA gets converted to DHA in the bloodstream for a great reason, so that you don't have DHA. Then it takes that ALA and stores it in the body and converts it in the brain, converts it in the liver, only in the tissues it needs it at. So it's not circulating around our bloodstream, blocking the health benefits of ALA and EPA. This is why I'm really encouraging people to talk with their doctors about this research saying that DHA could actually be blocking the health benefits. Now, consuming DHA also signals to your body, stop the conversion of ALA because I've got all the DHA I need. Let's take a look at that image once again because it'll make sense with the image up here. So, let me take down the comment first. All right, there we go. All right, as you can see, ALA converts down to DHA down here at the bottom. Okay, if you stick in the bottom one, stuff that the body would naturally only convert down to when it needs DHA. And you're dumping in an outside source of DHA, the body thinks, oh, I've made too much of it. Let's stop all the conversion so I don't have too much DHA circulating in my bloodstream. So it blocks the conversion of ALA down to all of its beneficial metabolites, including potentially EPA. So by taking DHA, you could not only be increasing LDL cholesterol, increasing your risk for hypertension, increasing your risk for cardiovascular disease, blocking the health benefits of ALA, you could be blocking the conversion of your more prevalent ALA, especially in vegans. Vegans mostly get it, almost entirely get it from ALA and SDA in the plant sources. So if you're dumping DHA in a preformed state that the body thinks, oh, I must have converted that, then it stops the conversion up here and you're actually preventing the health benefits of your ALA that you're consuming through food. Don't do this, please. Okay, let me get this image down and we'll talk more about the research. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's go further on. This study, though, was probably the most damning study I've seen yet on DHA. So it's a 2021 study. So it's actually even before the 2023 study. But when combined with EPA, higher DHA blunts the benefit of EPA and increases MACE. Now, what is MACE? It is moderate cardiovascular, moderate to advanced cardiovascular events. This is heart attacks, stroke, hypertension. Okay, so let's dive into this study. I'm sorry, I lost my notes here for a second. Okay, where is it? Okay. All right, here we go. MACE is major adverse cardiovascular events. That's what MACE is. Okay. Quote from this study that you see right on the screen. Conclusion: higher levels of EPA, but not DHA, are associated with reductions in major adverse cardiovascular events, or MACE. When combined with EPA, higher DHA blunts the benefit of EPA and increases major adverse cardio events in the presence of lower EPA. A novel finding, end quote. So we've got this fear based on measuring ALA conversion in the bloodstream, which is not where ALA converts to DHA at all. So that was wrong. We even call it the omega-3 index because that's how we measure omega-3 in people. Now, when you consume DHA, of course, it's going to show up in your bloodstream. So people are saying, oh, you take more DHA, you have higher blood levels of DHA. Well, that's not a good thing. With all this research I'm showing you over and over again, DHA inhibits the health benefits of omega-3s. It blocks and blunts the health benefits and could increase your risk for major adverse cardiovascular events, heart attack, stroke, even diabetes. Let me pull up this one. So there was a, let me find it. Apologize for not having it. So many studies to go over. So they looked at over 40,000 Chinese men and found that consuming ALA or EPA reduced diabetes incidence by 21%. But when DHA was added, no benefit whatsoever. So you're talking about a higher risk of diabetes, higher risk of cardiovascular events, higher risk of dying from cardiovascular events, and a higher risk of high blood pressure, all simply by consuming preformed DHA. This is why we should be letting the body consume only plant sources, ALA and SDA, and let it decide when to convert that to DHA. So it keeps it out of the bloodstream where it can prevent health benefits, where it can do damage, where it can actually not be good for the body. That's why the body chooses to lower DHA the higher the amount of consumption of ALA. It doesn't need the DHA to cause the anti-inflammatory effects. It has better resources. ALA, SDA, and EPA, much better. All three are anti-inflammatory. All three are cardiovascular benefits, health benefits, as shown in all of these studies. And when you talk about adding DHA, increasing the risk of major cardiovascular events, we must be careful about what we're talking about when we're telling people to take preformed DHA, when it is shown that the body doesn't need this, that there was no difference in the Ahiflower study and the recent Ahiflower study in Toronto, shown no difference in the amount of DHA turnover rates in the brain, in the liver, in the fat tissues, no significant difference whatsoever. You do not need to consume preformed DHA. All right. Both omega-3s and omega-6s use the exact same enzymes to convert down their ways. So if it was true that we needed to consume preformed DHA, which is in the bottom, it would be true that we need to consume preformed arachidonic acid. Remember, omega-6, just like ALA converting down to EPA and DHA, omega-6 converts down to from LA, the plant source, down to GLA and DGLA. All three are anti-inflammatory. This idea that omega-6 is pro-inflammatory is just flat out wrong. Omega-6 is anti-inflammatory and can be actually used as an anti-inflammatory substrate in place of omega-3. That's why the same enzymes are used for converting. It's not that we're preventing ALA from omega-3 from being used by higher amounts of omega-6. It's because the body is actually using the omega-6 as anti-inflammatory and doesn't need to utilize the omega-3s. It's a backup. We even see this in infants. Infants almost entirely use omega-6 until they switch over to omega-3 coming from their dietary source. They store up all this omega-3 when they're in utero. They get it from mom, and then they get it from the breast milk, and they store it. That's why babies are chunky, because they've got a bunch of fat stored DHA in their bodies and omega-3s in their bodies. And then they almost entirely use omega-6s as their anti-inflammatory substrate. Very interesting. We actually don't switch over to omega-3s until a little bit later after we're born. So this is really clear. Why? Because you don't want cardiovascular health. You don't want arterial stiffness. You don't want cardiovascular events. That's why the DHA should not be in the bloodstream. And here we are taking these DHA supplements, even vegans, which is terrible because we have better cardiovascular health. We have better brain health. And instead we're thinking, oh, because we're not doing what the animal foods did. The animal foods had it wrong. And I'll show you this. Okay, so plants do not make arachidonic acid. The most pro-inflammatory substance in the human body is arachidonic acid. That's omega-6. And that's where we get this idea that omega-6s are, because the plant source LA can convert down to arachidonic acid, but only when your body needs it. Now, arachidonic acid actually can store in the muscle tissue because when you squeeze and you're contracting, you squeeze out a little bit of arachidonic acid and it acts as a pro-inflammatory marker to say, hey, come over and heal and repair and grow this muscle. So some arachidonic acid is necessary, but only when your body needs it. So the body only converts down. As a matter of fact, studies have shown high intakes of omega-3, omega-6 PUFAs, omega-6 fatty acids from plants do not increase, no matter how much. Really high intakes of omega-6 do not increase arachidonic acid in the bloodstream. Does not happen. No matter how much omega-6 you're taking, unless you're taking ungodly amounts, and don't do that. But omega-6, high amounts of omega-6 do not increase arachidonic acid. That's in the published research. You can look it up online, just Google or PubMed it. It does not happen because the body regulates it. It turns on and off enzymes and only converts that LA into arachidonic acid when you need it, like when you work out for exercise. You don't want pro-inflammatory arachidonic acid circulating in your bloodstream. Why not? Because it's pro-inflammatory. When the omega-6 that you eat in meat, in animal products, in dairy and eggs, that omega-6 is actually dominantly arachidonic acid, the pro-inflammatory state. So dietarily, we're getting almost all of our dietary arachidonic acid from animals. Plants cannot make arachidonic acid. It's impossible. You cannot get arachidonic acid from eating plants unless your body says, I need to convert some for healthy inflammatory states, healing and repairing damaged tissues, exercise. But your body does not want preformed arachidonic acid in it because it will create inflammatory states. Let me show you an example of that. So this is a 2018 study. Dietary, meaning from your food, which only comes from animal products. Dietary arachidonic acid, a Janus face actor. It should be a Janus factor in brain and Alzheimer's disease. Okay. What is Alzheimer's disease? Well, Alzheimer's disease is a pro-inflammatory state in the brain. Similar to cardiovascular disease, the blood vessels in the brain, just like the blood vessels to the heart, can become inflamed and clogged and reduce the amount of blood flow. So let's look at a quote from the study. The various data suggest that dietary arachidonic acid, which only comes from consuming animal products, dietary arachidonic acid should be taken into account in the design of preventative strategies against Alzheimer's. So they found that those with the highest amounts of dietary animal-sourced arachidonic acid had the highest rates of Alzheimer's disease. Once again, plant-sourced omega-6s, anti-inflammatory. LA, anti-inflammatory. Then it converts to GLA, anti-inflammatory. Then it converts to DGLA, anti-inflammatory. When you consume animal products, you get number 4 right into your bloodstream, arachidonic acid, pro-inflammation. This, coupled with the cholesterol, you add cholesterol in its oxidized cooked state, cooked meat, cooked animal products, cooked eggs. You add that oxidized cholesterol, and then you add the arachidonic acid, and boom, that is the perfect recipe for creating Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, high blood pressure, hypertension. This is it. Even erectile dysfunction, the clogging of the arteries to the genitalia. This is all caused by these two things. Cholesterol, oxidized cholesterol only coming from animal products, dietary oxidized cholesterol, dietary arachidonic acid, the 1-2 combination to create that time bomb in your system to create Alzheimer's disease, to create high blood pressure, to create cardiovascular disease. It's really clear by the evidence that we should be consuming the precursors. LA, anti-inflammatory, ALA, anti-inflammatory, and let the body convert it down through enzymatic control. Our body has epigenetics, genes that turn on and off depending on if it needs to produce the enzyme, then it converts ALA down to ETA and then down to EPA. Then it turns off the enzyme production, and then it has the EPA it wants. So it has nice little catch things to self-regulate, to endogenously inside the body regulate the exact amount of quantities of each one of the different 6 forms of omega-3 and omega-6 that the body needs specific to each tissue. That's why it keeps it out of the bloodstream, because DHA in the bloodstream, no bueno. Increased heart attacks, increased cardiovascular disease, increased in diabetes. We want the precursors. The body needs the precursors, and let it decide when and where. Higher DHA in women, they need more for pregnancy. So it's gender specific, it's age specific. You need higher DHA levels in the brain for as you age. It is body weight specific. It is activity level specific. The body knows, it reads all these signals. How old am I? What stressors do I have? What health conditions do I have? What is my gender? What is my body weight? What is my need for each tissue? The heart needs different amounts of different omega-3s. The brain needs a different assortment of all 6 of those different omega-3s. Let the body decide which that is. Don't take preformed, especially the one at the very bottom. This is DHA at the very bottom here. So when you are dumping in DHA, you're stopping all the rest from being converted. You're putting the brakes on the whole endogenous regulation system. Please, please consider not taking. Now, you still need to consume enough omega-3s, which is why I, sell an omega-3, the richest source. Now, why would I sell Ahiflower? Okay, so the very first step in conversion from ALA down to SDA, it is called the rate limiting step. There are a few, probably 3 to 5% of the population that has a genetic variation that doesn't produce that enzyme very well. We know this. This is understood. So if you can find a plant source that already has some of that ALA converted down to SDA, you bypass that. Then everybody can get the health benefits that they need from all 6 forms of the omega-3s. Well, when I found this company, NCI, that had the plant with the highest amount of SDA of any non-GMO plant discovered so far, I was like, eureka. We finally got something that everyone can benefit from, regardless of your genetic makeup, and that can give you the best mix of omega-3s, omega-6s, highest in SDA, highest in combined SDA and GLA, that beneficial omega-6. That's a full spectrum balanced omega-3. 4-to-1 ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, great ratio. I mean, it's like the perfect universal thing. Omega-3. 4 times better conversion to EPA in the bloodstream than flax. Better than chia, better than hemp. Hemp is the best of the bunch up until Ahiflower was found. And Ahiflower has 8 to 10 times more SDA in it and more GLA too as well. So much better in its rounded portfolio of anti-inflammatory omega-3 and omega-6. That's why I build these products. That's why I go out and find the research and find these companies that have it. And it's why it won the Nexty Award, the top supplement award in the United States for Best New Ingredient of the Year, way back in 2017. Proud to bring Ahiflower to market. The most effective, the best, and most well-rounded plant-based omega-3 in the world. And there's not any question about it. Multiple studies backing up its efficacy. 4 times more effective than flax, more effective than chia or hemp too as well. And this is in human research that we're talking about, measured head to head. Well, I hope you got a lot out of this study. If you did, please share, because I want to get this information out, because people could be taking DHA and harming themselves. People could be taking DHA supplements and increasing their LDL cholesterol. I had somebody contact me who saw one of my videos and said, "Thank you. Finally, somebody says what I had to find out the hard way, is that I had high cholesterol as a vegan." And I was like, why is my LDL cholesterol high? I'm eating a whole food plant-based diet. I should have low cholesterol. And the doctor said, well, what are you doing? What supplements are you taking? And he said, the only thing I'm taking is the omega-3 DHA from algae. And he said, well, stop taking that. And as soon as he did, his LDL cholesterol dropped immediately. Thank you for sharing that story with me, because it's great to hear the science is actual and practical matters in real world people. People are actually lowering their LDL cholesterol simply by not taking algae DHA. I want the best in health for you. That's why I do this. Look, I know some people say, hey, you own a brand, you're trying to sell supplements. I get it. I totally get that. And if that's what your takeaway is, then you don't understand me and you don't understand why I do what I do. But I do appreciate it. And I do understand that, because there are a lot of people out there just trying to hawk supplements at any cost. I'm here because I want to do the best for people's health. And when I read research like this, that's why I'm taking 45 minutes to explain this, because I think it's so important, because it can help so many people. And because I believe people have some incorrect information based on old research and based on old assumptions of ALA and the not converting to bloodstream in the bloodstream to DHA. There's a good reason for that. The body does not want DHA in the bloodstream. That's why it only converts 1%, and up to 50 times as much more DHA converted into tissues where it's safely out of the bloodstream. This is why when people consume higher amounts of ALA, their DHA levels actually lower. The body is reducing and getting rid of that DHA out of the bloodstream and using the ALA and EPA and ETA that's in the bloodstream, because it provides better health benefits. It provides better cardiovascular benefits. You don't want that DHA in your bloodstream, so don't put it in your mouth. Use the precursor form and let your body convert that ALA to DHA, EPA, SDA, ETA, all of the different forms. Let it know. You make the decision that is perfect for your body. Let the wisdom of the body do the right thing for the body, because what we are doing is intentionally putting DHA into the bloodstream and potentially causing, not only not helping, not only blocking benefits, but causing or resulting in greater adverse events and cardiovascular events. I'm glad that there's information out there. I have been vegan for almost 4 decades. And in that time, I have never, ever taken an algae supplement. I have never taken a preformed DHA in almost 4 decades, 40 years, folks. I'm thriving at 61 years of age. I turned 61 this month. I want the best for you. I want the best health for you. And when I find out that people are taking supplements that could actually harm them, I want to warn them about it. I hope we get this information out to more people. Dr. Michael Clapper, Dr. Greger, Dr. Joel Kahn, all of these docs out there. Thankfully, there are some doctors, Dr. Frank Sabatino, Dr. Milton Mills, who are already 100% on board with this. I've gotten the thumbs up saying this research is amazing. This research is correct. I'm even putting together a bunch of all the plant-based doctors to come together to talk with Dr. Metherell about this research and about making new recommendations for people who are plant-based or not plant-based, but giving them the right information so that they can do the best health and the best good for everyone. Please share this. I want to get this information. It's out. It's so prevalent that so many people are taking omega-3 DHA supplements and could be unintentionally harming themselves or negating health benefits that they could otherwise have. I don't want to see that. I don't want people to think they're doing good by taking a supplement and actually doing harm. I don't believe all supplements are good. I do believe there are ones out there that do a lot more benefit than others. And that's why I'm very, very selective about the supplements that I bring to market. My promise is that all of these supplements will always be natural, non-GMO, gluten-free, certified vegan, and promote health as well as promote fitness goals. Because fitness is part of health. And I want the best health and the best fitness levels for you. It's why I do what I do for the last 30 years. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I know it's a long video, heavy with research. Please take a look at the studies that I posted in the links. We'll have the studies down below once it's posted up on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Live long and prosper.